When the Kansas City Chiefs thunder onto the field of the Louisiana Superdome in pursuit of a historic third straight Super Bowl title, millions will be watching, not just the game, but the woman in the stands whose presence has rewritten the very definition of what it means to be a WAG. That woman is Taylor Swift. And in this era, she's not just a girlfriend of a player. She's the power in the room, the spotlight in the stadium, the story beyond the scoreboard. Swift, an icon in her own right, found herself the unexpected centerpiece of the NFL's narrative last season, not by strategic media planning or some orchestrated stunt, but simply by loving someone in the public eye, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. And with that love came cameras. Came headlines. Came millions of new viewers, many of them Swifties who'd never before watched a game of American football. It wasn't long before Taylor Swift, the pop goddess, became football's most visible and influential WAG. The acronym WAG, Wives and Girlfriends, used to be a punchline. A tabloid tool. A stereotype used to paint women as accessories to athletes, clad in designer clothes, sitting pretty on the sidelines while the men took center stage. Coined by British tabloids in the early 2000s and supercharged during the 2006 World Cup, the term was a media weapon, light on nuance, heavy on mockery. Even women who had built empires of their own, like Victoria Beckham, were reduced to 3 hollow letters. At the time, Victoria, 1/5 of the Spice Girls and a cultural force in her own right, still had to defend her love life like it disqualified her ambition. "I wasn't one of these girls who would be interested in footballers because they're famous," she said years later in the Netflix docuseries Beckham. "I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I had that myself." But what once was an insult is being reclaimed, transformed, rewritten. Today's WAG is not defined by glamour alone, but by entrepreneurship, influence, and voice. Today's WAG isn't waiting on the sidelines, she's building her own empire beside the field. Netflix's WAGs to Riches follows this evolution. In it, Portia Berto, wife of former boxer Andre Berto, says bluntly, "The old definition of WAG was, oh, I'm a kept B*******. Not anymore. Now, these women are creating podcasts, launching brands, writing novels, becoming businesswomen, and doing it all while navigating the relentless scrutiny that still clings to their title." Kylie Kelce, wife of Travis's brother Jason, launched her own podcast Not Gonna Lie in late 2023. The debut didn't just attract listeners, it dethroned the Joe Rogan Experience from the top of the US charts. With 2.4 million Instagram followers and a candid, relatable voice, Kylie brought motherhood, marriage, and locker room realities to the masses. Authors like Alexa Martin, wife of former NFL player Derek Martin, are turning sports romance into literary gold. Her NFL-themed novels, written with insight only a true insider could provide, are flying off shelves. Lexi LaFleur Brown, partner of hockey star JT Brown, has her own book on the way, Shoot Your Shot, scheduled for a 2025 release. Streaming platforms are taking note. Amazon renewed Married to the Game, a docuseries following the wives and girlfriends of Premier League footballers, while Netflix continues to explore the lives behind the locker rooms. The demand is clear, people want more than just the game. They want the human stories behind the glory. That's where Morgan Riddle comes in, a woman who may not play on the court, but who's become the face of men's tennis in a way few ever expected. When American tennis star Taylor Fritz posed for the New York Times, it was Morgan, his girlfriend, who graced the feature. The outlet dubbed her the most famous woman in men's tennis. With a booming social presence and an eye for content, Riddle turned her courtside seat into a front-row empire. She's not just filming from the stands. She's hosting Wimbledon Threads, a digital fashion series that roams the tournament grounds capturing style. She's influencing the very branding of the sport itself, with tour organizers quick to capitalize on her reach. Producer Grace Barber, who initially doubted the decision to hire Riddle for Wimbledon Threads, later admitted she was impressed. "She's got a really clear directive, creatively, of where she wants to go," Barber said. "She's got a plan." It's a sentiment echoed by Dr. Casey Simons, sports media scholar and co-founder of Siren, a women in sport collective. "The internet and social media have changed the narrative," Simons explains. Partners of professional athletes can now build audiences, platforms, and careers, often independent of the sports world they're adjacent to. But the visibility comes at a price. For all the growth and creativity, these women still face the kind of backlash, hate, and scrutiny their male partners rarely endure. Morgan Riddle knows this firsthand. "I get so much hate," she told Tatler. "But people are allowed to have their opinions. That's the double-edged sword of public life. Especially for women. Especially in sport." Swift herself has felt it. The more time she spent with Kelce, the more accusations surfaced. That she was a distraction. That the cameras showed her too much. That she was making the game about her. Never mind that she had built one of the most successful musical careers in history, was in the midst of a record-breaking global tour, and was single-handedly generating hundreds of millions in economic activity wherever she went. Swift, like Riddle, and like Kylie Kelce, is redefining what a WAG can be. She's not shrinking herself to fit the sidelines, she's widening the lens to bring more voices in. The old playbook is being rewritten. And this new era, this WAG era, is bold, multi-dimensional, and unapologetically public. The backlash that Victoria and David Beckham once endured, especially after his infamous red card in the 1998 World Cup, laid the blueprint for the vitriol that still exists today. But the women in the arena now are not asking for permission. They're not just holding hands with greatness, they're building it too. Whether it's Taylor Swift commanding the NFL's biggest broadcast moments, Kylie Kelce topping podcast charts, Morgan Riddle turning Wimbledon into a fashion runway, or authors like Alexa Martin telling the stories behind the stats, the WAG of today is a cultural force. And she's just getting